Stop yawning. Yeah, la 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 la. Are we on Zoom? Bye 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 bye. Yeah, bye bye bye. Yeah, bye bye bye. Yeah, bye bye. Yeah, bye bye bye. Yeah, bye bye Funny story. La 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 da 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 bye da 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 ya da da Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Here we go. Another Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's so wonderful to see you all here on this Shabbat, both those here in the Robert Morgan Chapel here at Temple Bat Yahm, as well as those who are at home on Zoom and streaming. It's especially wonderful to welcome Natalie Chernoff, who has brought some friends and family with her. Raise your hand if you're celebrating Natalie becoming a bat mitzvah this Shabbat. Wow, you have a fan club. Fantastic. Well, we hope everyone enjoys our service. And in order to do that, you do need a prayer book. Hopefully you've got one nearby. Opening in the Hebrew direction, we're going to begin right away with the blessing over the Shabbat candles. And I am thrilled to call up Sharon, Natalie, Sophie, Rona, Lolly, Diane, and Jackie.
Is this a surprise?
Surprise!
You're on. Lollipop, lollipop. Me? Come on up. Come on, Sophie. Sophie, you're going to do it in Hebrew, okay? We're going to read these 2 English paragraphs. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Slow.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ledlik ner lechadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
And a hug. Hug, hug.
Mazel tov.
And now that we've lit the candles, we continue to welcome Shabbat with the Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms. Psalm 95 can be found on page 130. Please join in.
Naria, Naria, Letzur Ishenu, Nekadma Fanav B'Todah. Naria, Naria, Letzur Ishenu, B'Svirot Naria Lo. Lechu neranina, Lechu neranina, Lechu neranina Adonai. Lechu neranina, Lechu neranina, Lechu neranina Adonai. El Gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher beyado mechkerei haaretz v'tohafot harim lo lechu neranina lechu neranina lechu neranina lechu neranina lechu neranina Adonai asher lo hayam והוא עשה, נבשת ידיו יצרו, בואו נשתחווה וניחא, נברכה לפני אדוני עושינו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני, כי הוא אלוהינו ואנחנו אמריתו וצאן ידו, היומים בקולו תשמעו, תשמעו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני.
And we each week welcome Shabbat as a beloved companion And we do so especially with the words of Lecha Dodi, page 138. We'll be singing verses 1 to 5 and then rising for the final verse, which is the 9th verse. 138.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמעו וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי דודי, והדודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי דודי, הדודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי, אורי, שתעברי, כבור אדוני עלייך נקרא. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום מעטרת בעלך, גם בשמחה ובצום עולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Now that we've welcomed Shabbat, let's welcome each other. For those online, you're going to head out into the breakout rooms for a couple of minutes. For everyone here, find someone you don't know or haven't seen for a while and say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Totally forgot. Totally forgot.
You did. Oh, that's right. So he pinned someone on Zoom, and her the camera's like below. She's like this. It's just eating. That's why I was cracking up. Oh yeah. Oh God. He was back on CNN. Now he left CNN.
He misses the good old Zoom days.
people with water there too, by the way. Hi, Matthew.
And we're back from the breakout rooms and catching up. Did you raise your hand if you saw someone you hadn't seen for a while or met someone new? Fantastic. Where are the Chernoff friends and family in from? Where are you guys, Natalie's friends and family, where are you in from? Chicago.
Chicago, New Jersey. Jersey, where in Jersey?
Very nice.
Oh,
Cherry
okay,
Hill.
near Philadelphia. Near Philadelphia.
Very nice. And on Zoom, which you guys can't see, but I can see.
Phoenix.
We've got a Phoenix person.
Phoenix.
We've got people from Corona del Mar. We got people from Irvine. We got people from Big Bear. We got people from Melbourne, Australia.
Whoa.
All over the place. So welcome, whether you're here or online. We're now going to join together as one big happy online and in-person community as we join together in
Got
the
someone
call
enjoying dinner.
for prayer. Baruch Hu, page 146. Please rise if you're here in person. Please be seated. And on page 149, let's join together in the first reading, page 149. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night as heaven spans to infinity. You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Amari v'Haravi. Amen. Page 151.
Ahavat olam v'Yisrael, ahavat amcha ta. Torah u'mitzvot, hukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך תשים ממנו לעולמים.
We rise for the Shema, page 152.
ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Shema.
אוהב עמו ישראל, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
Page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Elohechem emet.
Amen.
Please be seated. On page 158, we sing together the words our ancestors sang at the shores of Freedom's Sea.
מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זהלי אנו ויאמרו, זהלי אנו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. Page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס כשלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. Page 162, our Vashamra needs a little bit of an introduction. We have a number of visitors, and it's been pointed out that this Vashamra may discriminate against people who have shoulder injuries, rotator cuff injuries. So while those who have functioning shoulders can channel their inner tevye, The folks who may struggle with that don't have to lift their hands up, but either way, if you're able, please do rise for this Vishamru, page 162. You can even put the book in its slot in front of you, so you've got...
There's the 2 fingers on the hand technique, too.
Yeah, you can also clap if you want. We are fully inclusive here at Temple Bat Yahm.
Clucking works, too.
And the folks at home are getting into it. Go Jimmy Salkin and Lisa Friedberg. Okay, Cantor, that's quite enough.
Vishameru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat la'asot, et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, berit olam. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat la'asot, et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Here we go again. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat la'asot, et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat la'asot, et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i, Shabbat vayinafash. Uvayom hashvi'i, Shabbat vayinafash. Uvayom hashvi'i, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat la'asot, et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, berit olam. Ya-la-la-lai, ya-la-la-la-la-lai, 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 ya-la-la-lai, ya-la-la-la-la-lai, ya-la-la-la-la-lai, ya-la-la-la-la-lai. Yep. Good job, you guys, here and online. Ada Gilbert is getting the award tonight online. She was really getting into it. Page 164, let's remain standing or get back up if you just sat down for the Tefillah, the central prayer, page 164. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Konei Hakol ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei Bneihem Le'ma'an Shemo ve'Ahava Melech Ozer Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Bezrat Sarah 168. Atagin boler lamaronai. Mechayeha kol atar rav lehoshia. Morid hatal. Mechakel chayim bechesed. Mechayeha kol berachamim rabim. Somech lofnim berofech olim. Umatir asurim. Umekayim emunato elishene yafa. Michamocha ba'gevurot. Umidom elach melech emid. Umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua. ונאמר אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Please be seated. And on page 178, let's continue with Shalom Rav, a prayer for peace, especially poignant in a world where there's still war. Page 178.
Shalom Rav. Hasim le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha. Hasim le'olam. Yatahu melech haton lechol hashalom. Ki yatahu melech haton lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha. Hasim le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha. Hasim le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה. שלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים
Baruch Shemo
המברך את עמו ישראל.
Don't stop after beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and make musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first. Let's take a few moments for silent prayer.
Shalom, Imeroma, Uya
We now turn in our thoughts and prayers to page 382 in our prayer for healing of body, of soul, of spirit. Some are here with us in person or online. Some are in hospital, recovering from surgery, treatments, awaiting diagnoses, struggling with mental illness, addiction, infertility. We also think of all those who've been injured in the ongoing conflicts around the world, especially in Ukraine. Page 382.
Refaenu Adonai v'nirafeh, Hoshi'enu v'nivasheh.
Pleased to call upon Noah Tikva, Bat Pinchas Herschel, Sharon Ruth to come forward. That's you, Natalie, in case you don't recognize your Hebrew name. I know you recognize your Hebrew name. Come on up to lead us in the Kiddush. And everyone who's here should have received wine or grape juice on your way in. Please rise. And folks at home, grab your Kiddush cups and get ready for our Kiddush. Oh, Greg Snyder's ready to go. Looks like Debbie Katz didn't wait.
Hold this mic. This will be better for you.
Okay.
Nice and slow. Right into the mic. Okay. You're on.
Yeah. The seventh day is consecrated to the Lord our God. With wine, our symbol of joy, we celebrate this day and its holiness. We give thanks for all our blessings, for life and health, for work and rest, for home and love and friendship. On Shabbat, eternal sign of creation, we remember that we are created in the divine image. We therefore raise the cup in thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzah banu, b'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon, nihilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tefillah l'mikra kodesh, zocher l'tziat mitzrayim, ki banu b'charta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, b'shabbat kodecha, be'ahava uratzon, l'chol tanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen. L'chaim.
Pretty good on its juice.
Good job. That's such a beautiful voice.
Great job.
Isn't she got a great voice?
Great.
Go back down. Please be seated. Jewish life is for all our senses. Every one of the holidays that we encounter through the Jewish year has an aspect that affects us and interacts with us through touch, through taste especially, and smell, through seeing, and through hearing. If we cast our minds to the span of the Jewish year, we could go on a journey, pick one of the senses, and explore it. Let's do that just a little bit for a few minutes now. Let's go to Hanukkah in our minds. If you'd like to, no pressure, you can close your eyes. But if that freaks you out, keep your eyes open. I want you to listen to the sounds of Hanukkah. The latkes frying in the pan, the matches striking to light the candles of the menorah, friends and family gathering to sing the blessings and the songs. And maybe you can even hear the dreidels spinning and falling over. And then let's cast our minds to Purim. In comparison, we may need to cover our ears a little bit because every time a certain person's name is mentioned, there'll be a big ruckus of the Grager, the Ra'ashan, blotting out his name. We'll hear the sounds of the Megillah being read and the sounds of children being excited to be wearing special costumes in honor of the holiday. And then let's turn our ears to listen to the sounds of Passover. I know it's tempting to go for the smells, especially of Passover. But let's think through, let's listen to the sounds of the Haggadah being opened, Dayenu being sung, Ma Nishtana, the shrieks of the kids when they try the maror and it's just a little too spicy, and the crunch of the matzah. And then let's travel 7 weeks and 1 day from the second night of Pesach to Shavuot. And we can hear the reading of the Ten Commandments and the study going on through the night. So we celebrate the anniversary of receiving Torah. Maybe in the distance we can hear the peals of thunder echoing from that moment that Torah was received all those centuries ago on Mount Sinai. Then we reach Rosh Hashanah. And again, we may need to cover our ears a little bit because the shofar is blasting, as it did just a couple weeks ago. Tekiah, Shvarim, Truah, and the Tekiah Gedolah. And we hear the melodies of the High Holy Days and the choir and the beautiful cantors' voices. And again, on Yom Kippur, we hear many of those sounds along with the gurgling sounds of our own stomachs. And then we get to Sukkot. And while setting up for Sukkot is quite noisy, especially if you've got one of those huts that requires hammering or the use of tools. But once Sukkot has begun, it's pretty quiet. It's a lot quieter than the High Holy Days with the shofar and the cantor, who, by the way, and he'll tell you this, he gets paid by the decibel. It's a lot quieter than Pesach and the rousing singing of Dayenu, and certainly a lot quieter than Purim. But what can we hear in the sukkah? Let's, in our mind's eye, go into the sukkah and just listen. One thing we might hear is the shaking of the lulav, which sounds a lot like the pitter-patter of rain on a roof, a reminder that Sukkot and Shmini Atzeret hope to welcome the rains for the rainy season in the land of Israel, which happens to coincide with our climate here. Wouldn't that be nice if we got decent rain in the months ahead? And we can hear the wind rustling through the schach, the rooftop of the sukkah. And we can hear the sounds of the neighborhood. Maybe we hear other people in their sukkah, a couple of houses away. And we're reminded why it's known as Zman Simchatenu, our time for rejoicing. It's appropriate to do this sensory exercise this Shabbat because this Shabbat is known as Shabbat Ha'azinu, after the Torah portion, whose first word can be translated as listen. Literally, give ear. It's a poem attributed to Moses towards the end of his lifespan. And what is it? He says, Ha'azinu, listen. It's often noted by anatomists, those who specialize in the structure of the human body, that we have 2 ears, but only 1 mouth. At least most people. And that's because we should be listening at least twice as much as we're talking. Ha'azinu reminds us at this moment in the Jewish calendar between the very loud high holy days and the relatively quiet Sukkot, we need to do some listening. Listening to the world around us that is so much in need of our help and attention. Listening to each other rather than just yelling or listening to other people who enjoy yelling through our screens. And to listen to what the prophets call the still small voice, that quiet, reverberating insight that is the voice of those who've come before us, whose voices continue to reverberate through our lives, through the actions that they took, and through the memories that we carry with us. And we can hear the still small voice of those who are yet to be, who are calling us to set things up for them so they can have a good life, a life of simcha. On this cusp between the high holy days and Zman Simchatenu, our time of rejoicing in Sukkot, and on this Shabbat of rest, of holiness, and of joy, let's try and redouble our efforts to listen. Ha'azinu. Listen to the world around us. Listen to those around us. And listen to the voices from the past and from the future. And in so doing, may we lift ourselves up and the whole world along with us. And let us say, Amen. And now, as we approach the conclusion of our service, we turn to page 586 for the Aleinu, and I'm pleased to call upon Earl, Sid, Steve, and Danny. That's Earl Chernoff, Sid, Steve, and Danny Ozer. Come up here to join us up here at the Ark, page 586, the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומים,
Page 598, we turn to Kaddish Yatom. This Shabbat, we're in the Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period for Richard Ferber and Norman Hannenbaum. This Shabbat marks the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the deaths of Arnold Altman, Molly Berkowitz, Doris Ballin Bianchi, Sabina Brody, Myron Cohen, Salvatore Di Quattro, Karen Sushal Dobro, Moisey Eisen, Max Freshman, Albert Grossman, Nachman Grunberg, Armida Hallstrom, Max Heller, Alphonse Jeanette, Ruth Carlin, Sidney Katz, Abe Levin, Robert Lundgren, Nettie Barlas Marcus, Charlotte Moskowitz, Donald Notek, Everett J. Olenek, Emma Purnell, Ron Podless, Arthur Rothenberg, Helen Frank Sandak, Charlotte Schusterman, and Paula Suss. We also remember those who've died due to baseless hatred in war, in Ukraine and elsewhere, those who've died from COVID-19, those who've died from gun-related deaths. And also on this Shabbat of celebration for Natalie, we think of Natalie's dad, of Mark Chernoff, who was such a beloved member of this holy congregation, a member of the Board of Trustees, missed by all of us. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for an abiding blessing. Together, Yitkadal, Yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, Yalmad Yivrach Yirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei. B'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael B'galau v'zman kariv v'yamru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam l'amei almayah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei d'kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata, Amiran ve'alma v'yamru Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yamru Amen. Oseh shalom limramav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yamru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all those who are bereaved, and we say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated, all except our fabulous president, Adrian Cohen, who has some words of welcome and some announcements.
Thank you. Yes. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you to our rabbi and cantor tonight for the wonderful service, and always to Matthew and Aaron Ross for running our tech. And thank you all for joining us in person and on Zoom. Hello, Zoom people. Thanks to Paul Zuhl for our fantastic music, and all of our TBY team who makes these services happen every week. Just want to say a special mazel tov, Natalie. What a beautiful job you did tonight. I was privileged enough to serve on the board with your dad, and he was an amazing man, and he would be so incredibly proud of you. He is looking down on you and smiling tonight, and you are so poised. I feel like there's a future temple president there. Torah study this week is online only at 9 a.m. with Rabbi Zilberman. And when we start the Torah again from the beginning on Saturday, October 22nd with Bereshit, we will resume in-person Torah study. So come for that every week in the Marcus Library, which is right over here. And streaming will still be available for those of you who want to be online. JCal is in session now on Sundays at 9 a.m., followed by coffee and chat at 9:30. Other programs, which we have a lot of. Now that the High Holy Days are over, we move right into Sukkot, which will be out there. We're celebrating with our annual Shabbat in the Sukkah on Friday, October 14th. And to complete the marathon of Jewish holy days, we have Simchat Torah and consecration celebration, which is super adorable if you haven't seen that, on Sunday, October 16th at 6 p.m. Yom Tov Yizkor for Shemini Atzeret on Monday, October 17th at 10:30 a.m. and exclusively only on Zoom. So you can use the Shabbat Zoom link to connect. Adult education has already kicked off the new year with the Foundations of Judaism year-long explanation of the people, culture, and history of Judaism every Wednesday night on Zoom at 6 p.m. And go to the website for the link for that. Also, WTBY has launched a new year with a myriad programs. Linda Ecker will be discussing the spirit of women at the Rosh Chodesh Tishrei with Rabbi Reina Gewurz. And that will be on October 25th at 7 p.m. only on Zoom. Amazing tools we have now. And also, WTBY dines out next Thursday, October 22nd at 6 p.m. And this time at True Food, one of my favorites. And there are so many programs, but I do not want to forget TBY Reads presents the first book of the season, A Simple Guide to the Most Misunderstood Country on Earth, Israel. It is October 25th at noon here on the TBY campus. Lunch will be offered, so you must RSVP. And there's lots of great information on that book. And finally, last but not least, we will be having on Monday, November 14th, save the date, there is a music and medics program from the American Friends of Mogen David, and that will be here at TBY. We are supporting that and hosting that event, and it starts VIP reception at 6 p.m. and general admission at 7, and the concert starts at 7:30 p.m. And I believe it's medics from Israel putting on, I think, or at least, yes, featuring medics from Israel. So should be a very interesting and musical evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrian. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. The TBY Reads book about Israel by Noah Tishby. She's a well-known Israeli actress. It is a really fabulous insight into the history of Israel and its place in the world and in the Jewish world in particular today. And there's two particular reasons why I think I would encourage everyone to get a copy and read it in the next couple weeks in preparation for our TBY Reads. And that's because there's so much anti-Israel rhetoric out there at the moment. I think many of us have heard about the law school at Berkeley, and I think there's a lot of misinformation about Israel. This book is very enlightening and should be read by everyone. And also, the discussion will take place just a week before Israel's, I think it's 5th election in 2 years or something, and it'll be very much on our minds to be thinking about Israel's election at that time. So encourage you to read it and hopefully come join us for the discussion. Our closing song.
Adon Olam.
Oh, that's a good one.
From the French Sephardic community,
Excellent.
Done in multiple keys. For those of you who are musically inclined, you will be fabulously amazed at Mr. Paul Zuhl's ability to go up 1/2 step for
With
each verse.
And we're on page
Pay attention.
625. Please
It
rise.
elevates us
And
as
then
we
when
go.
we've completed the closing song, we'll do Motzi, and then we have a beautiful Kiddush oneg, an oneg in the Packet Hall. Come join us for that.
אדון עולם השם מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, ואין נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אלי וחייתני, להמשילו להגבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תחתית, ולא העוז והמשרה, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצוחב לי ביצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אפקיד רוחי, ויהי תישן ויעירה, ועם רוחי גווייתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא, אדוני לי ולא אירא. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ ותיאבון.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
That's the ending of the day.
Thank you for the last one.